Oh, seven citizens, Black here from Casa Black Gaming, where I get right to the point with all of my guides so you can get back out into the verse. Now today I wanted to offer up a loadout for the Origin 325A since a recent commenter pointed out that I had left off this 300 series variant, and so I decided to use this as an opportunity to go ahead and roll out my new loadout design, which is something I have envisioned for a while now to better suit this topic. Now let me know how you like the look, and while you're at it, if you like what I do, then please do all of the things to help a channel grow, such as liking, subscribing, and telling those in need where to find me. I'm also available in my Discord channel to help answer questions directly, so feel free to drop on in and ask some questions there. And so with the intro out of the way, let's go ahead and get to the loadout. Now with my loadouts, I like to start things off with the ship components first, as they are usually the starting point for anyone who might have just recently picked this ship up and need to know how to get the ship going with the best components for getting around the verse and staying safe. So for the first component, let's talk the power plant, which the Grade A Military JS300 is a nice power plant to go with its really quick reboot time from distortion damage and its 875 health pool. The locations, price, and more info is shown now on the screen. Now as an alternative, you could go with the Quadracell, which is another Grade A military power plant with slightly less health, but a decent power plant to go with if you want a little more distortion shutdown damage pool. Either way, you can't go wrong. So for the coolers, you can skip these for now until they are made useful with the component revamp. But if you find yourself overheating for any reason at all, then you can pick up one of the glaciers with the locations shown on the screen now. I'd honestly hold off on these as most people do, but like I said, if you find your build causing you to overheat, then be my guest. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the shields. Now the size 1 I normally go with is the military grade A FR66. This shield is superior to the others in this size against distortion damage, and it has a higher health pool. The locations for this shield are shown on the screen as well. Now there are some who might choose the Palisade over the FR66 for its higher physical absorption rates, which helps against ballistic. So if you think this shield will help you there, you can find it at the locations that are shown on the screen now. It does have less health and its distortion shutdown damage is considerably weaker, but the max reboot time, if it does go down, is about 12 seconds less than the FR66, so there is that to weigh into your decision. Alright, and last but not least for the ship components is the Quantum Drive, and the size 1 I prefer usually is the Atlas. Now for a size 1, it's one of the best, but not the fastest. But for speed, you really want to consider the fuel tank size, which for the 325A is only size 583 compared to the Aurora LX, which has a 700, but both of these use the same size engine. Now if you were to go with the VK00 Quantum Drive, for instance, your distance to travel would be greatly cut, and you would need to refuel a lot more, which would negate that extra time that you're saving in speed. The Atlas is no slouch, and it's able to travel from Crusader to Hurston in 5 minutes and 23 seconds, or from Microtech to ArcCorp in 8 minutes and 21 seconds, which will save you fuel over the stock engine Beacon, which cannot travel very far at all without needing to refuel. To stay in space traveling longer, stick with the Atlas. Also, because I get this question a lot, when you're swapping out your engine, when you get back into your ship afterward, you might not be able to power up the engine. All you need to do is just turn the engine off, usually with the U key unless that changes or you have it changed, and you power it back up and it should work. Alright, so now let's move on to the weapons, and with this ship there are a few variations we can go with. First, let's talk all around laser repeaters, and for the nose I would go with the CF447 Rhino. The locations for it are on the screen now, and it's a very capable size 4 repeater that can do some great burst damage. Now moving on to the other two laser repeaters, I would go with 2 of the CF337 Panthers to finish off this laser repeater build. Now with these being energy weapons, you will not have to worry about ammo stress, and so you can stay out and about until the wings fall off this thing. Now laser repeaters are great for smaller targets like you will encounter in your first 2 to 3 tiers of the bounty reputations. They are also better at longer ranges compared to the other types of guns that are going to be coming up next in the video. Now if you're getting higher up in the bounty tiers and you're feeling like these repeaters just aren't doing it for you, then try swapping out those laser repeaters for laser cannons, and the one for the nose I would start off with is the Omniski 12. The alpha damage really picks up with the laser cannon over the repeaters, although you'll be firing at a slower rate, which is normal for the laser cannons. It can be found at the locations on the screen. Now to round out the other two smaller size 3 laser cannons, you can switch over to two of the Omniski 9s, which are smaller but still offer up that nicer alpha damage over the repeaters. And if you go laser cannons on the nose, you need to stick with the same type of guns so the firing speeds are similar instead of trying to mix and match laser cannons and laser repeaters. With these cannons, you should be on your way to taking out those higher tiered bounties. So what if you want to play around with some distortion weapons for those larger ships that can be disabled? Well, I would suggest keeping your two laser cannons from before and adding the Verapuk size 4 gimbal on the nose, which you can find at the location shown now. Once you have the gimbal on, you'll be putting the size 3 Sucker Punch XL on it. Being on a gimbal makes it aim for you, allowing for more hits than you might get on your own that will disable the ship so it's a sitting duck, allowing you to finish it off with your side laser cannons. Now, for those of you who want to spice things up a little more, you can keep those two laser cannons once again, and this time add the ballistic Gatling AD-4B to the nose. Yes, this gun uses ammo, so that stress will be a thing, but you're not completely reliant on ammo, still having your two side laser cannons on, and when you know you have a for sure shot, you'll do some serious penetration with that ballistic Gatling and tear your opponents up and have a blast doing so. The locations for this gun have been on the screen as well. Okay, so now it's time to move on to the missiles. Now, stock, you get 4 size 2 missiles and then 4 size 3 missiles. Now, these are fine, and the only thing I would suggest for these is to switch those size 3 Arrestor 3s for the Thunderbolt 3s, because as of right now, electromagnetic missiles are landing more hits overall than the other missile types until a revamp of missiles is done, and those missiles are on the screen now with their locations. Now, if you want more missiles than those 4 size 2s, you're welcome to switch the MSD-322 missile racks for 2 of the MSD-341s, which are on the screen, with their locations showing as well. Now, what these missile racks do is allow you to trade down to size 1 missiles, and you get twice as many. So you can then buy 8 of the size 1 Pioneers at the locations on the screen now, and you'll be able to fire 12 missiles instead of 8. Granted, the size 1s have less damage, but some people like having more shots, so that choice and option is yours. Now, by that same token, you can also swap those 2 missile racks for the MSD-313s, which is on the screen. You can pick those up, and with those, you can move up to 1 size 3 missiles, which gives you 2 more size 3s for a new total of 6 of the Thunderbolt 3 missiles, but they would all be size 3s, which is the most firepower per missile you can have, but the least amount of shots. Here's the Thunderbolt 3 screen again if you want to go after those. Alright, and so that's going to do it for this loadout of the Origin 325A. I hope you found the options I provided useful, and I really want to hear which build you're going with, whether that's one of these, or maybe you went full ballistic, because with the new changes coming to shields and ballistics in 318, I know many will be trying this out. Remember to be kind to your fellow gamer, go easy on that trigger, and only when you know you have a for sure shot, and stay positive citizens.